All right, welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick for this week's Breakout Watchlist from August 23rd to August 27th. In this video, I'll be covering 20 stocks that have breakout potential in the upcoming week. They are strong both fundamentally and technically. We'll go through their fundamentals first and then their technical setups after. Each of these stocks are going to be above their 200-day simple moving average, which itself is in an uptrend. They're going to be 50% or more above their 52-week low. Most are 100%, but minimum is 50%. And after they've broken out, they've gone through a pullback, tightened up, and are ready to move again. After you're done watching the video, make sure you go onto my Twitter account, StockTrickNick, and vote on your favorite setup. If you're coming here for a specific setup, timestamps for each of the setups will be in the comment section below, so you can go there and get exactly what you need out of the video. If you enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on StockTwits, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. All right, quick disclaimer, anything that I talk about is not stock or financial advice. This is all for educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence before trading. Trading comes with financial risk. All right, here's the lineup. Not going to spend too much time on this because we have fundamentals and charts to go over, but here are the 20 stocks that we'll be covering. The ones with the stars are just the ones that you guys can vote on Twitter. Nothing too special about each of them. All right, first we'll start with ALGN. And using MarketSmith, we can take a look at earnings per share growth, 52%, 48, 241, 969%, incredible growth there. The sales up 21%, 28%, 62, 187 the last quarter, great acceleration of sales. And after-tax profit margins, around 24% increase year over year. So really strong there. Industry-wise, it's in the medical products, which is 70 out of 197. But within that industry, it is the top-rated stock, which is nice to see. If we're looking at fund ownership, you can see the number of funds that invest in the stock have been generally increasing from 1393 back in September 2019 all the way up to 2105 in June of 2021. Looking at earnings per share rating, 97, group strength B, accumulation distribution B, and composite rating 99. So overall, very strong fundamental stock. Next, we'll look at the technical setup for ALGN. After earnings here, we had high volume, 13% move, 13% move up. From there, we had a pullback, shake under the 8-day, and like many of the setups that I'm going to be looking for, we want the pullback, a bounce, and then an undercut of the low in the pullback. We've been seeing a lot of undercut and rips, so that's the theme that's working in the market right now. That's what we want to jump on, and that's what ALGN is setting up with. So we had that pullback, we undercut that, kind of trading right along the 20-day simple moving average, and then on Friday we had an inside candle. So I'll be looking for a break over Thursday's high, 685.52 as a possible buy point. Next we have AMD, and this one did break out. Next we have AMD. This one had that very strong breakout on heavy volume and has since pulled back, but let's take a look at the financials first. Earnings per share up 128%, 63%, 189%, and 250% in the most recent quarter. Sales 56, 53, 93, and 99. Good acceleration of sales growth. And then profit margins 18%, 19.6, 18.6, and 20.2. So continuing that strong acceleration of profit margins. Group strength, we're looking at 56 out of 197. That earns it a group strength rating of a B+, which is solid. Within that group, it is the highest rating stock. So composite rating right here, 1 out of 30, which is nice to see. If we're looking at fund ownership, that has increased 1697 back in September of 2019, steadily increased. Did decrease a little bit in June, went from 2718 to 2651. Is this going to be a trend where ownership is selling off? We'll see. But right now, that's just a yellow flag. Earnings per share rating 99. Accumulation distribution B+, composite rating 99. Very strong fundamental stock. So with AMD, we had very, very heavy volume going in this 45% breakout here. I did not catch this, unfortunately, so we're waiting for a pullback to the 8-day exponential moving average. We had that bounce, and then just like ALGN, very similar chart, we had an undercut of that pullback, shaking out any of the traders that got in on this initial pullback. We've undercut the 20-day simple moving average. On Friday, we had higher highs, higher lows. And for this, I would just be looking for a break over Friday's high, 105.98. That would put us over the 8-day exponential and the 20-day simple moving average as well, and kind of get over the main part of this volume shelf. So hopefully less resistance up top now that we have had that pullback and shakeout, ready to undercut and rip. AMD. Next we have ATEN, and earnings per share growth. We had 550%, then 80, then 140, and 44. So oscillating between those very high numbers. Impressive earnings per share growth. Sales, not as impressive. +7, +4, +2, +13. So we are seeing an increase in sales, but not at a very rapid pace. Profit margins up 18%, 22%, 17%, 17.8%. So still increasing their profit margins, but nothing too special there. On a group strength rating, we're 80 out of 197 currently, but within that group, we're 10th out of 108 stocks. So we're trying to find the top stocks in each group to invest in, always looking for the strong stocks getting stronger. Overall, this has a composite rating of 90, which is good to see, and a relative strength rating of 94. If we're taking a look at fund ownership, this is steadily increasing. Last year, 275, 275, 298, and 308. So nice uptrend in the fund ownership. For ATEN, we did have these 2 days heavy volumes through earnings. That moved it up 19%. We had some post-earnings drift even higher, so 23% from the breakout point. We did have a false move into new highs here and pull back under the lows. So fake breakout, shakeout, and then sideways action as the 20-day simple moving average is catching up. Nice to see that. With this, I might get a little bit more aggressive with my entry, just put a break over Friday's high, 1323, just so I can keep my stop loss under the lows here and still keep the risk very minimal. So 3% stop, 3.5% stop under some of the lows if we could take the trade with a break over Friday's high, again, 1323, ATEN. Next, we have Boot Barn. Earnings per share -17, +22, +317, and then we have that +999%. So it went from -2 cents per share to $1.26. Very strong year-over-year growth there. Sales went from -1% to +6, +37, +107%. So you get that acceleration of sales. Profit margins +3%, +9%, +9%, +12%. You get that acceleration of profit margins as well. So fundamentally, very strong stock here. Group strength, 9 out of 197. That's a group strength rating of an A+, which it can't get better than that. Within that group, this is also the highest rated stock. So again, strong groups, strong stocks within that group. If we're taking a look at the fund ownership, you can see we went from 370 to 431 in 2 years. And really recently, 333, 345, 402, 431, we're picking up fund ownership. Earnings per share rating, 99%. We mentioned the group strength at A+. Composite rating, 99. So let's look at the chart for BOOT. Every time this is pulled back under the 50-day simple moving average, we've stayed there 1 or 2 days and then started a move higher. Most recently, that happened, let's see, July 19th, moved higher. Let's measure that move. A 29% move. So we're pulling back again. Had 1 day close under the 50-day. Friday, we closed back above. Inside candle on Friday. ATR is starting to decline here, so we want as tight of a range as possible so we can keep our stops as tight as possible. With this, I would be looking for a break over Friday's high, 83.71, and then keep a stop under the low from Thursday, keeping that risk around 5%. BOOT. Next, we have Datadog. Earnings per share, +400%, +100%, 0, and then +80%. So March of 2021, not as strong, but sales growth, 61%, 56%, 51%, 67%, very strong sales numbers there. And then profit margins around 10% up until the most recent quarter, which has been 13.8%. Group strength, we're 80 out of 197. Within that group, we're 13 out of 108 stocks. Fund ownership, let me get to that. Really exploding in fund ownership. Went from 227 back in September of 19 to 1,010 in the most recent report in June. Earnings per share rating, 45, so on the low side there. We do have accumulation distribution rating of an A-, an overall composite rating of 88. Relative strength rating, 92. We're always looking for those strong stocks, right? With Datadog, that had that earnings call breakout, 21% up. We've pulled back to the 8-day exponential moving average, undercut that a little bit, bounced higher, another pullback, a little fake breakout over this 2-day pivot. So I want to see that fake breakout, a pullback. We undercut the lows in the second pullback here on Friday. Ideally, we get a couple more days where this trades down a little bit, puts the pressure on people holding in the short term right here, and then we can get more of an undercut and rip. So I'm going to be a little bit more patient on this, probably not trade it Monday or Tuesday, trying to get that further pullback. Eventually, be looking for a break over Friday's high, 132.87 as a possible buy point if we do pull lower. If it just takes off, then you might have to use Thursday's high, 137.11. But I'm not trying to buy a stock this far extended, especially in the market that we're in right now. We've seen a lot of chop, so unless a stock is setting up perfectly, I'm going to be very reluctant to take the trade. Next, we have the IPO DOCS. This has been very hot lately. You can see relative strength rating of 97. We have earnings per share, 200%, 233, 200, 700%. Nice, strong earnings per share numbers. Sales, plus 77, plus 81, plus 83, plus 100%. And profit margins increasing rapidly, 22% increase, 29%, 32%, and then 42%. This is definitely a very strong stock that I want to find an entry point on. Fund ownership, we only have 203, just because it IPO'd. Group strength, we're 136 out of 197, so not the strongest group right now, C- rating, but within that group, we're the second rated stock out of 31, so really strong within that group. Overall composite rating of 89, and definitely one that I want to take a look at. Next, we have DOCS. This is a stock that has been on my radar since that earnings pop, went up 61%, pulled back, had kind of a 2-day pivot here, and with IPOs, you try to trade them a little bit quicker. So I tried a break over here, sold some in strength, got stopped even on some, and took the rest for a loss as we pulled under it the next day. See how this kind of flagged out here, undercut, lower lows, lower highs on Thursday, and then same with Friday, lower highs, lower lows, but we did close right at the high of the day on Friday. So for this, I'll probably look for a break over Friday's high, 76.33 as a possible buy point. Definitely a name that I'm trying to get a position in. Next, we have HSA, which earnings per share has been accelerating. We went from minus 14 back in September of 2020 to plus 34, plus 78, and then plus 35 in the most recent quarter. Sales, 5, 6, 9, and 30, so that most recent quarter sales growth, pretty impressive. Profit margins went from 5 and has been holding steadily at 10 recently. Group strength, really strong group right now. A+ in the group strength rating, 15 out of 197. Within that group, this is the third rated stock out of 10. And then for fund ownership, nice steady increase there. 1928 in June of 2020, and now 2,228 currently. Earnings per share rating, 91, and composite rating, 92, along with relative strength rating of 93. With HCA, we have that earnings pop up 18%, heavy volume. We flagged out here, and similar to a couple of the stocks that we've covered, kind of flagged out, and then we undercut the low, shaking out the traders that got in on this kind of mini pullback here. Since then, we checked higher, pulled back, and then really moved forward on Friday. I am going to be waiting for another quick pullback, 1 or 2 days, and then using Friday's high, 250.66 as a possible buy point. But I do want to see a check back before I take this trade. Next, we have HRC. Nice turnaround here. Went from negative 31 to plus 35, but then in the most recent quarter, minus 29% for earnings per share growth. Sales, kind of a similar story. Negative 10, plus 8, plus 5, negative 6. So not the strongest earnings, sales, profit margins that we've seen recently. But this is in a very strong group, medical systems and equipment, 12 out of 197. Within that group, we're 11th out of 66. This did have a nice breakout on heavy volume that we'll get to in a second here. But fund ownership went from 678 to 745. Nice and steady increase, nothing too dramatic there. Overall, again, that group strength rating, A+, composite rating of 91, and a relative strength rating of 86. So with HRC, we had this 26% move up here, heavy volume. Since then, we pulled back, let's see, 9% to the 20-day simple moving average, had that bounce, and then things got nice and quiet. Friday came out above this pivot, so that was viable on Friday with good volume as well. So with this, I want to see a couple check back days, maybe just one on Monday inside candle, and then take out the high of Friday, 134.62 is my possible buy point. Next, we have a stock that I currently own, HUBS. This had earnings per share growth of 8%, 5%, 3%, and then 26% in the most recent quarter. That was where you saw that gap up in the chart. Sales plus 32, plus 35, plus 41, plus 53. We're getting that acceleration of sales growth. And profit margins 6%, 8%, 5%, and then 7%. So kind of holding steady and increasing there. Fund ownership went from 578 to 1,215 in the most recent quarter. Nice IBD fund ownership as well. Group strength, this is 90 out of 197, so that earns itself a B- right now. Within that group though, this is the strongest stock, ranked number 1 out of 46. So I want to keep our eyes on that. HUBS had that 14% move on earnings, good volume on that, nice close at the high of the day. Since then, we had a couple of sideways days, and then we did finally get that pullback, undercutting the lows since the post-earnings move. Higher highs, higher lows on Friday, closed right at the high of the day, and has good volume on up days, lower volume on the pullback days. For this, I want to see 1 or 2 days sideways, and then taking out Friday's high, 666.02 as a possible buy point. Next, we have ISEE, and although the fundamentals of the stock aren't as strong as the other names that we've covered, the chart itself is setting up very nicely. So we'll cover that in a second. We have group strength, a D+, 144 out of 197. Biomed, it hasn't been doing very well lately. Within that group, we're 27 out of 741. So we are a strong stock within that group. Fund ownership has been increasing, went from 37 to 206. Slight decline from the last earnings, went from 216 to 206. So yellow flag there, but let's see if that's just 1 quarter of slowing down a bit. One other thing to point out is the accumulation distribution rating, A+ there. Lots of high volume bars on up days, low volume bars on down days. So for IC, this is all technical, right? 75% move up, we've pulled back 17%, had a little bounce from there. Let's measure that. 17%, second pullback, 9%, 10%. And this is really starting to flag out nicely here. We got good volume on up days, very low volume on low days. So with an inside candle on Friday, I'll be looking for a break over Thursday's high, 958 as a possible buy point here. You would get over the volume shelf, less resistance up top, and hopefully a strong move up. Next, we have LKQ. This stock, earnings per share, 23%, 28%, 65%, 113. Got that earnings per share acceleration. Sales went from -3, -2, +6, +31. And profit margins 7.5%, 7.2, 9, and 9.9. So you got earnings, sales, and after-tax profit margins increasing, which is nice to see. This is also a part of a very strong group. We have group rating A+. This is 8 out of 197. And within that group, this is the second strongest stock out of 8. Looking at the fund ownership, went from 1294 all the way up to 1646, and recently from 1504 to 1646. So more funds are starting to buy into the stock. Earnings per share rating, 92. We already talked group strength. Composite rating, 98. And really strong fundamental stock. LKQ has been in a very strong uptrend, kind of starting from October, to May. Since then, it's been basing out. Kind of has a VCP look to it. Let's measure this. 11% pullback, 6% pullback, a little fake breakout here. So fake breakout, settled back in, and tightened right back up. We're right above the main part of the volume shelf here. Good volume on the up days, lower volume on the down days. And then for this, I'll be looking for a break over Wednesday's high, 51.18 as a possible buy point. Next, we have MIME. This made the breakout watch list last week, so we'll cover the fundamentals again here. Earnings per share growth, plus 146, plus 136, plus 87, plus 45. So although we're increasing our earnings per share, we're doing it at a decelerating rate. Obviously, we would rather be increasing at an increasing rate there. Sales plus 19, plus 18, plus 17, plus 24. So did get that uptick in sales in the most recent quarter. And profit margins have been increasing 17%, 16, 14, 15, right around that mid-teen range. Looking at group strength, we're 79 out of 197 in computer software. Within that group, we are the second rated stock out of 36. So nice rating there. Earnings per share 90. Earnings per share rating 95. Accumulation distribution B+, and composite rating 94, along with a relative strength rating of 86. So for MIME, we have this giant cup starting to put in a little bit of handle here. This was on the watch list last week, as I covered. Never really broke out above the high here. We did check back to that 20-day simple moving average and then made the turn, kind of that undercut in rally like we were talking about, undercut the lows in the most recent pullback, and then got out heavy on Friday. Good volume, closed right at the high of the day. I'll be looking for a break over the high here, 59.70 as a possible buy point. But if we can get a couple days checking back, allow that 20-day simple moving average to catch up, that would be even better. Next, we have NUE, very, very strong group rating, A+, comes from steels, so that's 2 out of 197. Within that group, it is the strongest stock, 1 out of 15. Earnings per share, we went from -26, plus 148, plus 213, and then we had that 999, plus 999 that you like to see. Sales, -10, plus 3, plus 25, plus 103. We get that acceleration of sales growth. And then profit margins, plus 4.1%, plus 7.5, plus 13.4, plus 17.1. We get that acceleration of after-tax margin as well. Funds, let's get to that. Had been increasing 1408 back in September of 2019, all the way up to 1634 with consistent increases in the last 4 quarters. Earnings per share rating, 93, group strength A+, composite rating 99, very strong stock. So steel has been very strong. Most recent move, 47% move up, very, very high volume. Lower volume checking back here. Let's see, what was the check back? We pulled back 9.5% from the highs. 20-day simple moving average is starting to catch up. We had a bearish outside day on Thursday, but I mean, very kind of a controlled bearish day, but still under that declining now 8-day exponential moving average. This can trade sideways for a couple days, then we could use Friday's high, 119.25, as a possible buy point, especially if it allows for that 20-day moving average to catch up. NUE. Next, we have NVDA, who just reported earnings last week, so let's cover that. Earnings per share growth, 62% to 66, 104 to 89, so very strong earnings per share growth, very consistent there. Sales growth, plus 57, plus 61, plus 84, plus 68. And then after-tax profit margins, plus 39, plus 39, plus 41, plus 40%. NVIDIA, incredibly strong fundamental stock. Earnings per share rating, 97. Accumulation distribution, B-, composite rating, 98. Group strength, it's 56 out of 197. Within the group itself, it is the 4th rated stock out of 30. And then looking at fund ownership, this has been gradually increasing from 2,542 back in September of 19 to 4,567 funds. Hard to ignore the earnings of NVIDIA, and we have this nice pattern through here. Let's see, pullback 15% high to low, pullback 9% high to low. Then we got all that earning volume popping here. Strong close at the end of the day on Friday, right near the previous high. So we're going with a break over 208.75 as a possible buy point. If we can get another check back, couple candles here, allow that 8-day and the 20-day moving average to catch up, move higher, that would be even better because buying breakouts haven't been as strong lately. So if we can get quick checkbacks and then buy the pullback, that has been working better. Next, we have PAYC. This one, earnings per share 0, -2, +11, +56. Sales +14, +12, +14, +12, +33. And profit margins +20.6, +22, +31, +23. Earnings per share rating 89. Group strength B+, it's 80 out of 197. Within that group, it is the third rated stock out of 108. and we're looking at a composite rating of 96 and a relative strength rating of 90. Fund ownership, we went from 850 to 1394, and we have been increasing the last 4 quarters. That's PAYC. With PAYC, we have this giant cup right here, starting to put in a little bit of a handle, but just trading sideways, allowing that 20-day simple moving average to catch up. We did get a mini undercut of the lows here. Let me just make sure there. So low 454.08, low 453.83. So anyone who put their stops right at the low got shaken out on Thursday before we turned higher, but did so on lower volume. So with this, I'm gonna be a little bit more patient. This isn't my favorite setup out there, but is holding that recent earnings move, what was that, 20%, very well. If this can just trade sideways, allow that 20-day moving average to catch up, maybe a trade later on in the week or even next week, PAYC. Next, we have RMBS, earnings per share plus 167, plus 150, plus 67, plus 600 in the most recent quarter. Sales, -1, +3, +7, +37. Profit, +4, plus 9.6, plus 16, plus 28.5. So very, very strong last quarter's earnings. You can see earnings per share plus 600%, nice breakout, and since then we've checked back. Group strength, we're 56 out of 197. That earns it a B+. Within that group, we're 9th out of the 30 stocks. Earnings per share rating, 94. What else to point out here? Composite rating, 97. Relative strength, 89. And taking a look at fund ownership, gradual increase in the last quarter, went from 401 to 406, but we started at 327 back in September 2019, and nice gradual increase there. RMBS, good earnings volume coming out here. Let's measure move, 11% up. Since then, we have pulled back 9.5% all the way back to the previous base. Inside candle on Friday, right in the main part of this volume shelf, good support there. Buyer stepped in right on the 50-day simple moving average, good to see. With this, I'll be looking for a break over Thursday's high, 23.78 as a possible buy point. That would put us above the 8-day exponential moving average and above the volume shelf, RMBS. Next, we have SITM. This one has been very hot as of late. Let's take a look at the earnings per share, plus 229%, plus 231, plus 236, plus 429. Sales up 29, 43, 63, 107. Got that nice sales acceleration. Profit margins 13.5, 20.3, 10.8, and 21.6. You can see here we gapped up on earnings per share on the earnings call. Nice heavy volume. Earnings per share rating 65. Group strength B+, comes from 56 out of 197. Within that group, it is the strongest stock out of the 30 stocks that make up that group. Composite rating 99. So taking a look at SITM, we had a very strong move up, 86% or so. So just short of that high tight flag, pulled back 8.1%. I'm going to treat it basically as a high tight flag though. Really good volume on the way out. Pulled back to that 8-day exponential moving average. Since then, has moved higher. Inside candle on Friday with a very strong close near the high of the day. If we can get one more kind of shakeout under the lows there, that would be ideal. If not, a break into 207.89 new highs would be the buy point. Next, we have SKIN, and although there's not earnings per share numbers to go over, we have sales growth 46% in Q1, plus 371% in Q2, along with positive profit margin 11.7%. Group strength, this is 71 out of 197, earning it a group strength rating of B, and within that group, it's 11 out of 33 stocks. Fund ownership, we're increasing. We went from 41.55 to 136. Overall composite rating, low composite rating, 74. Accumulation distribution is an A though. Lots of buyers, very little sellers as it's increasing along this uptrend here, and relative strength rating of a 97. So for SKIN, I really want to point out the heavy volume on the up days and low volume on the pullbacks. Outside of this July 27th candle, which pulled back right to the 50-day moving average, buyers stepped in. Good to see buyers kind of taking control right there, pushed it higher into earnings, then had that earnings pop 26%. Since then, we've had a very controlled pullback to the 8-day exponential moving average. We've continued to undercut the pullback's lows, so that's nice to see. If we can get another kind of quick flush and then a breakout, that would be ideal. If not, just looking for a break over Friday's high, 2190 as a possible buy point. Next, we have SPT, which finally broke into the positive earnings per share in the most recent quarter, up 109%. Sales have been increasing, plus 27%, plus 33%, plus 34, plus 42. Profit margins have been decreasing, unfortunately, minus 13%, minus 9, minus 6, and then flat in the most recent quarter. Earnings per share rating of 56, so weaker earnings per share than you would like. It is group strength 80 out of 197, that's a B. Within that group, it is the 15th rated stock out of 108. Let's go fund ownership. Gradually increasing 66 to 396 with an uptick each of the quarters here. Overall, composite rating of an 86 and relative strength rating 98. SPT, we have this giant cup handle breakout on earnings, heavier volume there. Had a little false breakout reversal, false breakout reversal, undercut of the lows in the pullback. So nice to see everyone get shaken out there. 20-day simple moving average is starting to catch up. Had a good volume day on Friday, closing right at the high of the day. So for this, I'd be looking for a break over 104.98, the high from Wednesday, as a possible buy point. The more days that we could trade sideways, the better the setup gets with SPT. And finally, we have ZI. Earnings per share up 120, 140, 160, 100. So 4 quarters, all above 100. Very strong, nice to see. Sales plus 56, plus 53, plus 50, plus 57. 4 quarters above 50% sales increase. That's really, really strong. Profit margins plus 34, plus 34, plus 33, plus 32. Although it's not accelerating, it is such a strong increase in profit margins. Group strength, this is 80 out of 197. Within that group, it is the 9th rated stock out of 108. Earnings per share rating 65. Group strength B. Accumulation distribution B minus. Composite rating 92. Relative strength 91. ZI, huge volume on earnings. Had a weird earnings response where it opened up 12%, pushed higher, up 16%, and then only closed the day up 3%. So that's how kind of wacky the market has been lately. And then the next day, it just reversed back higher, closed at the high of the day, continued on the following day, closing near the high of the day, well above the Bollinger Bands here. Heavy volume through all of this. Since then, we had the pullback to the 8-day exponential moving average. I was being patient, waiting for a false, kind of a false pullback breakout. We undercut the lows there, found support right at the 20-day simple moving average, and has been slowly trending up since then. I'd be looking for a break over Friday's high, 61.50, as a possible buy point. That would get us above the volume shelf and less resistance up top. All right, that's going to be the breakout watch list of the week. We just covered these 20 stocks, their setups, buy points, and fundamentals behind each of them. Make sure you go on Twitter, StockTrickNick there, and vote on your favorite setup between AMD, ISEE, NVDA, and SITM. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on StockTwits, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Also, make sure you get your 2 free stocks with Webull using the link in the description below. When you sign up, you get a free stock between $3 and $300, and when you deposit $5, you get another stock between $8 and $2,000. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday night for a live stream trading session.